What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Average Bob, and today we're going to talk about the absolute disaster of a game between the Jets and the Giants, where the Giants had a chance to seal the game, put it completely away, and somehow blew it and lost 13-10 in overtime. But got to be honest with you guys and completely transparent. Oh, Kayvon just having an absolute sick sack there. Stripped it, and that's how the game starts. But I just got to be honest with you guys right off the bat. I was trying to watch the game on my phone a little bit because this previous weekend we had the Average Little Bros wedding down in Jersey. So I was watching on my phone, and then after that I was in the car listening to good old Bob Papa and Carl Banks. So, and as much as I was talking to some of my buddies about this game, they were like, even on the radio couldn't do justice for how bad some of this looked. So honestly, you're going to be seeing a genuine reaction from me because this is the first time I'm going to be watching some of these terrible clips in full. But yeah, early and often, right? You got Kayvon showing up and having one of the best games of his career as a Giant so far. A little Jets sweep to Wandell. The Giants have been trying to do that a little bit, but I saw the total stats of this game. They finished with 7 passing yards, but -8 total, just due to sacks or whatever that conversion metric is, which is kind of crazy. But Dable said after the game plan was going to be pounding the rock, especially in the rain with the poor weather. And Graham Gano hits his first one. You're kind of gift wrapped a field goal there when you sack Wilson in their own territory. But that was probably the highlight of Graham Gano's day because he really shit the bed in many other key points of the game. Breece Hall, I did say in the pregame I thought Breece Hall was going to have a monster rushing day. It kind of came in a different form where you saw his explosive playmaking ability out of the backfield, making a lot of guys miss. With the Giants offensive line, the amount of shots these quarterbacks take, and you know, Tyrod has had that injury issue historically too, and it just adds up. 1st and 15. Let's look at Garrett Wilson here because I think Garrett Wilson had a pretty good day going against like Banks and Hawkins, and you know, that's a pretty early on cool matchup for Banks and Hawkins to play. A second year guy coming off winning offensive rookie of the year, and he's a super talented guy, and Jets seemed like they were trying to get him involved just to make plays wherever he can because you could see he does have that talent. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just, you know, this is something that the Giants have done a lot of this whole season is you see these quick right off the bat, just they're already running the route. It's just a design screen, 3rd and 4, and Saquon gets killed by 2 guys for 1 yard. We've seen a lot of that this year already, and it's just crazy how when you watch other teams play, it feels like they're playing a completely different sport based on what the game plan is for the Giants. And of course, oh my God, McKinney there. I didn't realize that the first time. But it is funny when you watch other teams play and you see what they could do. And okay, so let's break this down. This is the Breece Hall touchdown. Just, wow. Look at Zach Wilson there feeling a little cocky, zipping that one over the middle for 1.5 yards. And then Breece Hall does this with his 1, 2 guys should have tackled him already. 3, 4. What is 20 Pinnock? He probably was like locker mates with Breece Hall. Was like, I'm not gonna wrap you up, dude. But is that McKinney just standing there and like spun around? Like, Jesus. As I said earlier in the pregame video, you know, I thought the Giants secondary specifically had done a little bit of a better job wrapping up and figuring out their tackling, and then now you're looking at it, Breece Hall just doing kind of what the Dolphins did a couple weeks ago, just making guys look embarrassing in the secondary and refusing to tackle. Giants did a lot of this last week too with Tyrod, just kind of like power going too, but again, you know, you're having an injury-prone 33-year-old quarterback, and you're going to expect him to take some shots, and that could be the play Waller got hurt on too, because I think he only had 1 catch, and you know, Waller was another guy who I said in the preseason video of things that I was concerned about. Darren Waller has an injury history and can't really survive for a full season, and now you're seeing the impact of that. Graham Gano, 47-yard attempt. Hills it left. It sucks, and I do feel bad for Graham Gano a little bit because he has been so consistent for the Giants the last number of years, and then you get a season like he's having. He's probably just hurt or something, but if you're hurt, you know, and you're out there, I don't want to hear excuses. Like, if you can't go, just let someone else play that can kick a 47-yard field goal and whatever at the end of the game, like a 30-something yarder, which is by NFL standard has to be made every single time. And if you do make those, it's a different game. Let's look at this. Wink dialing up some pressure here. And Zach Wilson has really nowhere to go with the ball and is forced to step up, and he gets killed by a bunch of Giants guys. I think this was a 3rd and 4, and I think Becton might have taken a penalty at the end of this. Maybe he was just getting a little frustrated. Yeah, up there at the top, you could see him. I don't know if they did throw a penalty there. Yes, then you get a little sexy dance, but it sucks. When you're compounding just bad, shitty plays, and then we got Tommy DeVito in before halftime. What are we gonna see? Is he the next Tom Brady? Is he the next Brock Purdy? And then he slides a yard short. Giants forced to punt. Interesting. One thing I was thinking about is this game, transgressed with and the Jets onto their 3rd-string center fumbling. I mean, what else can you do in that situation? I mean, it is funny, but similar to like a center playing, right? And maybe this guy doesn't always play center. He's a guard that they moved to center or something like that. And similar to a quarterback with Tommy DeVito, right? These guys are forced to come into games and play. Here's the thing. They might be 22, 23, 24 years old. Tommy DeVito has been playing quarterback his entire life. I bet he started playing when he was like 7 years old. He's been a great player on every single team he's been on, and then gets into the NFL level, and you say, I don't want this guy to throw passes anymore, even though it's a quarterback. Like, how are you possibly in a position where you have a guy who's a quarterback signed from your practice squad that you don't want to throw passes, even though by definition he's a quarterback and that's half the job, right? Like, if you want to just hand the ball off and run, you could do that with put Thielen out there and let him hand it off. Like, you don't need a quarterback to hand the ball off. But it's just weird. And I guess everything is getting batted down at the line of scrimmage, and it is his first game, and I totally get that. But, what happens if the 49ers had the exact same stance? They're like, oh, shit, Jimmy Garoppolo goes down. Trey Lance goes down. We have Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. There's no way he can throw a pass because he was the last pick in the draft. Well, look how that worked out for him. Put a little confidence in a guy and see what happens. So this is a first big play to start the second half. Little inside, just quick inside zone hitter. Yeah, you already got Glowinski going over. Bretterson's already sees who's at Mosley, getting a pad on a pad there. And then you've got Pugh also at the second level at the yellow mark there. And then Saquon just does what Saquon does when he get in the secondary, make guys miss a little bit. And that's what I thought was going to happen. You see a little bit of a battle between Breece Hall and Saquon, although I thought it'd be a little bit more intense outside of like Breece Hall obviously won the battle with the one big play, but really not a lot of big plays this game. And I do want to talk about this because, I was just listening to Sports Talk Radio earlier, and someone was talking about how much of the frauds the Jets defense are. And, watching this game and rewatching some of the plays here, like, the Jets gave up 10 points in this game, and arguably it could have been less, right? Like, if you look at this play and the sequence before this, I think they Jermaine Johnson spears DeVito or pile drives him to the ground in a completely, what it sounded like on the radio, a completely unnecessary penalty. And then the Giants get 3 more downs where you're on desperation. Again, you're only one play away to holding them to another field goal, which you might be able to block or Graham Gano could miss. So the Jets defense isn't playing bad. Like, what else are they supposed to do? Everyone bit on this fake. And obviously Saquon's hands are down by his thigh pads there. Like, this guy should easily make the tackle. And he's just looking at Saquon's back's turned. Look at this. Saquon's back's turned. What the hell is 23 or 32 doing there? But the kid from Jersey gets in. God damn. It's just so tough watching these plays and these guys, both teams and quarterbacks and offenses. It's like, how do other teams do it and look so good? We can't. Giants getting a little desperate, going back to the jet sweeps with Wandale. Got Breda going too a little bit. And yeah, that's what Dable said after the game. There was going to be heavy run, and they stuck to that game plan. It was like 50-something rushes for 200 yards total. But again, when you look at modern NFL stats and you see -7 passing yards, you're kind of like, oh, God. Like, that's just such an unsustainable amount. And you're like, yeah, you could blame the weather. But again, these are guys that play football for a living. They're played professionally. They deal with the weather. What happens if you're later in the year and you're playing it in, I don't know, it's 5 degrees out and you got a foot of snow? You're going to just blame the weather then? Like, no, everyone deals with this shit and you figure out a way to make it work. And we just use it as a crutch to say, oh, we have to hand it off. You could also just say we're giving the ball to our best player. Who cares? Like, yeah, sometimes you got to get there. Sometimes you got to get blown up. Just watching these highlights, too, I feel like this game just flew by with terrible plays. That's probably why there's not too many highlights here. But it really comes down to the last couple minutes here at the end of the game where Zach Wilson making a big play with his feet. Got 2:19 on the clock, 2 timeouts. And I think Kayvon has the big sack here, and then the Giants mess it up. Dexter also got held there. Huge sack by Kayvon. And then I think after this later on, he did have his best game as a Giant, but he had the stupid jump off sides that I believe stops the clock. So the Jets were able to run a play. So it is funny when you watch really bad teams play, they are able to find fascinating ways to lose games. It kind of is like almost remarkable. And I literally said to my wife in the car when we were driving back, I was like, the Jets haven't done a single thing all day. They have to go about 60-something yards in 20 seconds with no timeouts. And the weather has been as bad as it is all day. There's no chance that they could get anywhere here. So I really put the jinx on the G-men there. But here you go. Here's the 4th and 10 play. Kayvon again, just balling out. You would think with 1:26 left on the clock, can the Giants figure out a way to seal a deal and close a game? A field goal certainly helps your chances, or even getting a first down. So this was a big debate. Now you got 4th and 1. You line up to kick a field goal. Should you have faith in Saquon to get 1 yard? The Eagles do this, 12 times a freaking game where they do the little tush push thing. They get it with like an 85%, 90% success rate. We do it. Half our offensive line gets hurt. So maybe just having that happen so many times, you're like, okay, we'll give Graham Gano a little bit of redemption here and then force the Jets to go all the way down and win with the touchdown. But instead, also too, like Graham Gano misses this, but from what I haven't seen this yet, but I heard someone jumps over the pile. So let's look at it here. Jumps over the center, and I mean, what else are you supposed to do there? He probably would have blocked that, and then look, you got 2 guys right here that would have been in prime position wherever the ball came out if it was going backwards to kind of take it to the house, and then you're losing outright. So let's just look at it again real quick in real time. What is also interesting, too, because there's always, like, controversy, like, is that allowed? Is it not? Because you're jumping over this side of the long snapper. But anyway, here you go. You missed the field goal when you could have went for it. But let me just go back to that real quick. It's kind of one of those scenarios where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you go for it and get blown up, then you're saying Dable's an idiot. Why not just take the 3 points, go down and force the Jets to kick win with a touchdown? But instead, you kick the field goal, they miss, and then, maybe the defense, they just played really good to potentially end the game the series before. Now you're looking at the Jets on their own 20-something yard line. And Zach Wilson with the chance to win the game or kick a field goal to send it to overtime. So, yeah, I believe that was the play. Kayvon goes off sides. It stops the clock. Is that it? Anyway, Wilson you really can't make this stuff up. And then I'm surprised this whole highlight reel wasn't all of the Jets punter just flipping the field position. You talk about the weather and stuff, but guys, it's football. Like, other teams figure this out. They don't just use it constantly as an excuse for not being able to kick a field goal or throw for more than 7 passing yards. Like, it's just outrageous. So here you go. You got 3rd and 21. You put your practice squad quarterback in position, and you just run a screen. And look at Saquon, says it all. He's just like, I'm just going to unbutton my chin strap now and walk off the field. 3rd and 10. Big conversion. Oh, yeah. Looks like Banks just kind of has to tackle Garrett Wilson there. Let's just see if we can see it. Oh, Pinnock. Hey, you know what? That's a good throw by Zach Wilson because he's getting drilled in the chest there and just does what he has to do. He's got to have faith in these guys. And, he damn well should because Garrett Wilson is a premier player in this league. And we were obviously robbed not being able to see him play with Rodgers a little bit. Hopefully next year. 3rd and 5, taking a shot deep. I heard it was bad, but come on. Oh, don't even give me a palms out there, Dory Jackson. Like, come on, bro. 3rd and 5. This is why I hate when teams do stupid shit like try and run the ball on 3rd and 5 and stuff like that. Like, just chuck it up. Sometimes this is the result, and it's an easy first down. It puts you in an opportunity to win the game. Look at Adoree Jackson. Oh, what? Yeah. Oh my God, that was as bad as I thought. I actually, that was worse than I thought it was going to look. then 33-yard attempt would win the game. Like, Jesus. Oh, my God. That was kind of close, too. I thought it made it sound like he drilled it. And then there you go. Salah's happy. Dable's pissed. Tommy DeVito scores a touchdown, and you're on to playing the Raiders. Trade deadline looming this week. I have no idea how this is going to shake out. You know, with where you're at with only 2 wins so far. I just think the process has got to be, we have to start selling. I'll probably do a video about this tomorrow. As much as I do love Saquon and some of these other guys, I think it's time to move on a little bit and do a proper rebuild, because these half-ass rebuilds, like, they don't work out, and look where you are now. So let's just, moving ahead, Danny Dimes might play this weekend. Otherwise, we'll see Tommy DeVito possibly again. Oh my God. Also, the Giants talking about possibly signing Matt Barkley or Ian Book. And I saw on the radio, they kept saying Matt Barkley. I'm like, are they talking about Saquon Barkley? And they're just saying Matt, like what? Like Matt Barkley Matt Barkley's like my age. There's no way he could possibly play football anymore. If I have to see Matt Barkley play, I don't know what we're going to do here, guys. But anyway, there you go.